Elisa and I am the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today I have a memory keeping process video for you. I am still working with Pocket Pages because I'm working in this disc bound system in my Crafty Club playbook for the summer. So I'm going to be working with a few photos of my kids doing things together, the three of them, because that's how it's been this summer without visiting cousins and family and just focusing on our group. Then we've had a lot of time with the three of them learning how to play together. So I thought I would document those. I'm still working with my Hip Kit Club from the month of June, which has a lot of the pink paisley Let's Stay Home, which is absolutely perfect for documenting this time of year. I will make sure to link everything down below. Otherwise, this should be pretty quick and easy. Let's go. The first thing I'm going to do is kind of look through my papers and figure out which ones I want to use as the basis for these cards. Now, I used to have the hardest time with 12 by 12 papers, cutting them up and using them for something smaller. So I did do 12 by 12 layouts back in the day, back when I was much younger and had a little bit more time. And part of me I struggle with cutting up these 12 by 12 papers because they're so beautiful when they're all together. But I've come to learn that I want to use my supplies however they call to me. So for instance, I am trimming out a small piece of one of the 12 by 12 papers, fussy cutting it, and I love these buildings, and I'm layering it on top of another piece of 12 by 12 that I've cut apart. I feel like I just want to make a concerted effort to use my supplies. I love them. I think they're beautiful, and therefore I want to include them in projects, especially when I have subscription kits like Hip Kit Club and I know I have more beautiful pieces coming. Then I don't want to just reserve places. I want to use them and use them for fun projects. So that's why you see me kind of picking bits and pieces, and I'm not afraid to cut it out, and I'll be able to use the scraps on other projects. And but it did take a little bit of overcoming for me to be willing to cut apart those 12 by 12 pages. So I have all of my basic pieces picked out. Now I'm going to look for some ephemera. I'm really focusing on the blue because there's a lot of blue in that particular 3x4 card that says Family Memories, and so I want to bring that blue over to the other card, and it's a picture of my kiddos playing water balloons, and so blue was appropriate with the water. And I liked being able to cut apart the ephemera pieces. I'm just, like I said before, all about using the pieces how they function. So just because it's a circle doesn't mean you have to use it as a circle. For me, it worked better to have this semicircle there. So just really look at your stash with fresh eyes and how you can see it functioning in your layouts, and go for it. Cut it up, chop it up, use bits and pieces by all means. Those are your supplies now that they're in your stash, and you should use them as you see fit. So layering a few other pieces, working in threes, I have that Quality Time, which fits really nicely. And then I decide I really want to do some mixed media on that black and white polka dot card. So I have some metallic watercolors. I'm just going to use a water brush and just mixing a few of the colors. Really nothing difficult, nothing hard. I just wanted to bring a little bit more color up to that card. So I'll have the blue mixing in with some pink, and then I'll go into the gold over there on the edge. All colors that are in the collection, that Stay Home collection from Pink Paisley. I dry it, and then I end up deciding it needs to have just a little bit more color coming through so that you can see it around the picture that's going to be in the middle. So blending it more, adding plenty of color. I kind of wish I had put gesso on the card first so that it blended a little bit more and it didn't soak into the card, but such is life, and I'm going to dry it, and most of it ends up covered up with the photo, but I like how it brings just a little bit of that color up to the top. I play with the placement of that photo. You can see me kind of scoot it down just a little bit, and I'm going to play with some different ephemera pieces. I know I wanted those buildings, but I thought, well, maybe if I move those down, I'll be able to fit in this Homemade Memories piece, and I just couldn't make it work. It was going to end up being too crowded on that card. So I put that to the side, place my picture down, and then I will add adhesive to this other piece that I cut out of the 12 by 12 paper. the sweet little buildings, and I thought that mask picture was just so appropriate. It was one of the first times my kiddos went out. We had a donut play date and they all wanted to wear their masks. They didn't have to because we were going to be outside the whole time and away from people, but they were excited to wear their masks. So it's one of those reminders of that kids see this time a little bit differently than adults do. And I love the piece that says, if you want to change the world, love your family, which is just really appropriate. I am super loving these enamel dot stickers. The colors are just awesome, and I like how they add dimension, but they're not too thick, you know what I mean? And so I'm using them to kind of bring in that title card a little bit, just adding a little bit of trail, a line that kind of guides your eye around that card. And I'm really happy with how those first cards ended up. I'll write the memories right there, just about how summer is moving a little bit slower, but we're enjoying some different kind of moments as a family. And then I'm trying to decide if I want a little ephemera piece, and yes, there's room there at the bottom, so I'll add a little green heart just to fill that space, and then I'll start working on how I want to focus on the back. So I have a picture of my kiddos eating donuts, building a fort inside, and then space for a 3x4 card. And I love, love, love this rainbow card, so I will definitely be pulling it out and using it right here. Because of where the rays of the rainbow or the colors go, I know that I want it on the left side, and then I'll have to pick a different card to match the picture of my kiddos building their fort on the right. This is another example of making something work for you. So there is this 2x2 card as part of this stash that says the Stay at Home Club or the Stay Home Club. And I love that idea, but the 2x2 really doesn't work with what I am going with. So I will end up cutting out that circle just so it kind of fits with the flow of the page a little bit more. It was just too blocky as a card. So just because it's given to you as a card, it doesn't mean you have to use it as a card. If you like an image, cut out an image. If you want to make it into a frame, use it as a frame. Just make it work for what you are doing on your page. I end up choosing the same background paper for that 3x4 card as I'm going to put for this 4x6, and I love the sleeping in phrase. And again, I'm going to manipulate this card. So this is a 2x6 card, and it has the phrase, "This makes me happy." And you can see I'm going to trim it out, do some fussy cutting and some edge work to make it work as kind of a title card again. So I'm trimming out really closely, and I thought I would just place it right there, but it looks a little awkward to me with that green blockiness. So I trim a little bit closer, some different fussy cutting around, just making it the green less obvious. There it goes at the top. So this makes me happy, and then I'll be able to add the title "Sleeping In" because that makes everybody happy, I'm pretty sure. As I start assembling this card, the top ends up feeling really heavy to me. So in all honesty, I wish this particular pocket page had the 4x6 on top and the two 3x4s on bottom. And that's just not what the layout of the page is. And so the whole thing feels a little bit off to me, and that big green block again feels just a little bit top heavy on that particular card. So I'm gonna start looking for pieces, some way to add just a little bit of balance, something else at the bottom of the card. And I find this little coffee cup, which is very appropriate because as my kiddos are having breakfast, usually I am enjoying some of my coffee, some caffeine to get ready for the day. And I trim off this photo, and it still looks a little funky to me with the photo going all the way to the edge. So I pull it up just enough, and I'm going to hand trim. Now this is not the best way to do this. I know I should have planned ahead. Sometimes I start adhering things down before I'm ready. So that might not be the straightest cut, but I don't mind because that's how I craft, and it's okay. I'm gonna add the sleeping in, and I do like that the photo doesn't go all the way to the bottom. It kind of eases that weight issue for me. And then I'm gonna trim off. So these are bits of the green that I trimmed off from that extra card, and I'm gonna just use them to make photo corners. So I made these little tiny triangles, and I'll add some adhesive with my Tombow tape runner, and I like bringing the green down to the bottom of that page. So I kind of tuck it in behind the ephemera piece right here, and I'll put it on all four corners, and it does a really nice job of moving that bold color around this little card. And I know it's pocket cards are a little bit different. So I'm used to moving color around a page, but when you're doing a pocket system, it feels like you have to consider each card individually, and then of course consider how they work together. So it's really been interesting to experiment with this different system. Adding my little coffee cup because I still really like it over there, and then I actually use those enamel dots again to add a little bit of this peachy color that I love, kind of as bubbles coming up from the coffee, representing the steam, if you will. And now I just need to assemble this last card. I'll put my picture down, and I already have the Stay Home Club on there. It doesn't feel completely balanced though. It feels, I don't know, it needed something else. So I have my Stay Home Club, and then I'm gonna look through the other ephemera pieces and kind of look for one that I can pair with it. And I end up going with these dice kind of representing all of the games we've been playing at home. And with that, this pocket page is done. I have been loving the Stay Home collection. It just, the colors, the themes, it just all fits for the summer of 2020. So I know I'm going to use this kit up to its fullest. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe button as well as that bell notification button. I have all of the supplies I used linked down below, as well as a link to join my email newsletter that goes out every couple of weeks, so make sure to check that out. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and as always, keep it creative.